Hi, I am speaking for this week's discussion board. The topic is race, class, and gender. Um, Interestingly enough, I just came from a racial equality meeting. It's an 8-part series that's being put on by my friend Chris, who is black. Um, and it actually is directed and it was asked for by a group of traditionally white Protestant church members. It's very interesting. They realize the deficiency in understanding of race, and so much so that they have actually partnered with some of the groups here in town to fill in the gaps and to open a dialogue about what racism is and what forms it takes, the differences between racism and prejudice. And those go pretty deep. I mean, prejudice and racism, two very, very different things. Fact of the matter is, straight line, race definitely affects how easily one comes about things. As a white male, privilege exists. And to preface this, one of my best friends is black. He is about the same age as me. Significant educational background. I mean, he's lacking in no categories whatsoever, and yet still he and his family are products of social stigmatisms, stereotypes. So within race, there's a lot of things that come into play. I don't want to make this hours long. You guys are probably clocking out by now. Two things. One of them is stereotype threats. Stereotype threats, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but it is the pressure that a minority feels to overcompensate for the stereotypes that may be placed upon them in fear of, for lack of a better turn of phrase, living up to the prejudicial stereotype for their race. Stereotype threat. If you don't know it, you haven't heard it, look it up. It is a very real thing. Honestly, it could be felt by every single race. I think in my area, I live in the Midwest, so predominantly white. Being predominantly white, it's mostly experienced by Hispanic and black individuals. That's just a fast and dirty. Obviously, we can pull data. We could put more things to it. The second, last point that I want to add to would be the thought of reverse stereotypes. So coming at it from white perspective, I have heard the party line over and over again. Oh, well, black people are racist against white people too. And if they're going to have those feelings against me, I'm going to have those feelings against them. Which we know, eye for an eye, does not work. However, what happens, and this is a very poignant fact, okay? Yes, I 100% agree that there are the same amount of black people that have ill feelings and prejudices against white people as white people have against black. The same applies to Hispanics, Indians, whatever race you want to put in. Everybody has prejudices. We all have stereotypes that we ascribe to people. Differences being where white privilege comes into being, where it actually comes into its own. Take a black man who thinks white people are trash. They're all racist. Take white man who has lived in a fairly affluent life. He has been able to attain power, what have you. Feels black people live up to the stereotypes. A big difference is in most cases, power is held, at least in this area, power is held by white individuals. So white individuals can be prejudiced, they can have those racial tendencies, and they can physically inhibit the social mobility of a black person strictly because they don't like them, because they're different, because they're black. All right. Obviously, nobody's going to come out and say that. It's very subversive, but it happens. Flip the coin. At least in my city, most people of power are not black. And that is changing. I'm very glad to see that. But there are very few black people that have the ability to inhibit the social mobility of a white individual. So they don't have that social power. Okay? Now again, I'm not taking sides. I'm just pointing out facts. So I'm already at 5.5 minutes, but something to think about. I would love to discuss this further if somebody responds to the discussion board. But thank you.